I watched hundreds of hours of college basketball this season, so you didn't have to. There's death, taxes, and Izzo having his guys ready to go in March, but there's another coach that always has his guys ready in March, and that's Chris Beard, and he's a very, very scary man to play in this month. Now, Michigan State fans, don't leave the video immediately because I'm going to bring up a sore subject. Last time that these two coaches met, Beard got the better of them and went on to advance to the national championship. Izzo's not a man to get fooled twice. The Spartans are going to figure out ways to attack this tricky defense, and they're going to take care of business and move on to the Elite Eight. That Texas Tech team statistically had one of the best defenses ever, so what's going on here? Here's a crash course on what Beard termed as the no-middle defense. Let's look at an early possession in their game against North Carolina. I'll pause it right here, and you can see that there's a screen coming. That screen is going to be switched 100% of the time, and it doesn't matter if it's 1 through 5. In fact, this whole area that I'm putting a rectangle around, they're going to switch every time. It's basically free throw line extended all the way up to the hash mark. And as you could have guessed, the no-middle defense's objective is to keep the team out of the lane in the middle of the floor. So really what they try to do is push teams around the perimeter, and then what they like to do in that rectangle that I drew towards the baseline is they like to trap. So you'll notice that in some of these possessions that I show here, that the person guarding the ball is not between his man and the hoop, he's between his man and half court, because they know they have that help coming from the baseline, and that's the intention of the defense, is to trap there. So how can Michigan State attack this and break it down? North Carolina had the right idea here with this high screen on a side, and you can see if this is someone like Jackson Kohler or Carson Cooper and they're making this dive, this might be there. But North Carolina forces it here. If you look back at it, that swing pass is there to RJ Davis. And these swing passes are something Izzo understands they should have done more of in the Final Four. So we get the defense, but what does Ole Miss like to do offensively? They really like to get the ball into the middle of the floor to break down opponents' defenses and then kick the ball out for shots. And Padula does a pretty good job of that. They also like to set a lot of pin downs and action off the ball to try to get players open. It's kind of a Bobby Knight school of thought of a lot of motion offense. I'll tell you right now that if anyone decides to wrestle with the guy setting the screen and give this open of a look, they're going to be sitting next to Wojcik or Thomas Kelly. So why am I confident in the Spartans' chances to advance? I did an entire video on this, but Michigan State has elite perimeter defense, and they're not going to be getting caught in these screens like we just saw with North Carolina. Also, the Spartans are able to give guards a lot of different looks, like you just saw with how they handled New Mexico's Donovan Dent. So I think they can handle Padula and Murray, but I think MSU fans need to be worried about this guy. It could be a rough night if he gets going, because Michigan State's deep with their guard play, but they're not as deep with their 4s and 5s. And this man is a bully, so there's going to be contact on his way to the hoop. The Rebels aren't a great rebounding team, so Jackson Kohler could have a good night on the offensive glass. Plan to see a lot of horns action out of Michigan State with these two screens up top to cause some early switch confusion, and then once you do get a switch and these bigs on an island, Michigan State has guards that love to get guys on an island. With the amount of guards that Michigan State has that can dribble penetrate, it's going to be difficult for the Rebels to keep them out of the middle. This will be Michigan State's biggest test because they're going to have to hit shots after ball movement or else they're going to be sent packing.